All right, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, December 16, 2024, and this is a public meeting of the School Board of West Bend Joint School District Number 1. More than 24 hours prior to the meeting, notice of the time, place, date, and subject matter of this meeting was posted at the entrance doors of the Education Service Center and on the district website. It was also sent to the West Bend Community Memorial Library, the Daily News, WRYU, Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and other media sources that have requested notice of our meetings. I'll pause to ask Superintendent Wimmer to confirm this meeting was properly posted.
Yes, it was.
Great, thank you. Please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We recognize a quorum of our board present. We have 5 board members present in person. Kelly Lang and Chris Jenkins are both absent and excused, and we look forward to seeing them in a future meeting. Next on our agenda is approval of the agenda, which was posted in advance. I'd move to approve this agenda. Is there a second? Second. We'll give that one to Melanie, I think, today. All right. John, you get the next one. Motion and second to approve the agenda. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. That motion carries. Next is public participation. I do not see any public participation comment cards, so we will move then to the consent agenda. We've got a number of items on the consent agenda, so I'll read them off, and of course, if there are any questions, board members, remember we can pull items out of the consent agenda. Tonight on our consent agenda, minutes of the December 2nd, 2024 regular board meeting and executive session. We have 1 contract, 2 resignations, and 2 retirements. We have documentation regarding school emergency operations plans, also family savings plan agreement, stop-loss insurance agreement, and recommendation to rename courses currently named English as a Second Language. With regard to that item, I'll just pause. This is the item, Superintendent Wimmer, that we talked about at the prior meeting.
Correct.
And I think the board had expressed interest in having that added to the consent agenda.
No questions.
Great. Also, we have revenues and expenditures in the aggregate through November 30th, 2024. So that concludes the items on our consent agenda. Are there questions on any items on the consent agenda? Hearing no questions, I'd move to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second? Second. Thank you, Dr. Temez. We've got a motion and second with regard to the consent agenda. Final discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion also carries. We move then to reports. Our first report is the Curriculum Committee report. Melanie Aragot, our committee chair, is set to give that report. Good evening.
All right, so the Curriculum Committee met on December 10th. We reviewed and discussed 2 titles for the 8th grade book club list. These titles are 3rd books of their series in the dystopian literature genre. Dr. Trueblood stated that the books that were approved last year in this genre were re-vetted using the updated definitions and parameters for graphic violence and found it easier to apply than the previous definition. Additionally, comments included ample choices for students with NA across all categories, the vividness of characters that engages students, and appreciation for students to be able to read all books in their series. This completes my report.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Melanie on her report? All right, hearing none. Next up is our superintendent's report. Superintendent Wimmer.
Just a reminder for everyone that beginning on Monday, December 23rd, the students are off for winter break until Monday, January 6th. School staff will have professional development on both January 2nd and 3rd, so we'll welcome them back early in the new year. But again, students will be off Monday, December 23rd through Monday, January 6th. They will return. Reminder, during winter break, the district office will be open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on December 23rd, 26th, 27th, 30th, as well as January 2nd and 3rd. And regarding board election deadlines, the deadline to turn in declaration of candidacy for anyone who's interested in running for school board in the April election is 5 p.m. on Tuesday, January 7th. A reminder to our high school seniors, they are invited to apply for a large number of scholarships available through columns and other local families and organizations. All the information is found on the East and West websites, with the deadline being February 13th. One of the main fundraisers for Columns was just held the other day. It's the Holiday Pops concert, in which the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra is invited right here to West Bend, and pleased to share that it was, again, a sold-out show. So again, thank you to our community for attending this special event and supporting scholarships for our students. A thank you to our student council. They held their annual blood drive last week, December 12th, and it was a giant success. The theme was Sink Your Teeth into Saving Lives, with sharks on their promotional materials. The 6-hour drive collected more than 351 pints of blood for Versity Blood Center of Wisconsin. This is the largest number of pints of blood ever collected. They had 50 double red blood cell donations, which smashed their previous record of 35. So I'd like to just extend a congratulations to the students of Student Council, Skip Clark, who's one of the advisors, but also the blood drive coordinator, in addition to their other advisors who helped make a successful event. Thank you to our partner at Versity for its important role and their donation of gift bags given to all donors. In addition, I'd like to recognize the many businesses that made donations to help the event go successfully. Alpha Custom Apparel, Chick-fil-A, Cousin Subs, Culver's, Domino's Pizza, Dunkin' Donuts, Eaton's Fresh Pizza, Kettle Moraine YMCA, Kingpin Bowl, Little Caesars Pizza, The Nifty Nibble, which is our student restaurant at the high schools, Panera, Papa John's Pizza, Sendix, and all of our students who brought in baked goods for the day. So again, congratulations on another successful community event. If you missed the Pops concert and you still want to enjoy beautiful music of the holiday season, please plan on attending the orchestra winter concert on Wednesday, December 18th, 7 p.m. at the Silver Lining Arts Center. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Superintendent Wimmer on her report? All right, thank you for your report. We'll move on then to our discussion items. I believe we have 2 discussion items on our agenda tonight. And the first one is Wisconsin Association of School Boards, or WASB, Delegate Assembly Proposed 2025 Resolutions. Superintendent Wimmer, are you going to walk us through that?
Sure. The resolutions are attached. Reminder, these are resolutions or advocacy efforts from the WASB organization, Wisconsin Association of School Boards. They're not law, they're just pieces that we would be advocating for. So each January we have our event, and our delegate is June Kruger, and she will go in and represent our district. So those were added. There's nothing that really stood out to us. So this is just an opportunity for board members, if they're in opposition of advocating for any of these, to share so that we could have discussion, and then June knows how to best represent the district in January. Were there any questions regarding any resolutions?
I didn't have any. There were, I think, was it 6 pages of them, so it wasn't a terribly long report.
No, and again, advocating for accountability, transparency, some relooking at funding, those pieces, and advocating generally as they have in the past. So,
I think the first resolution where they were adding an or that had to do with finding teachers, that it would be either by credential or by experience, and that's what they're looking for. And that would seem to make sense as it relates to kind of a shortage of teacher situation. I believe that's what they're getting at. Is that correct?
yeah, so just the tweak of one word, you'll appreciate that legally, just shifting it to an and an or to kind of widen a pathway for people. So that gives the district's ability to sponsor qualified paraprofessionals to become licensed teachers in that one. That's always something we're looking in that pipeline of talent, whether it's future teachers, organizations for our high school students, or as we see talented support staff, tapping them on the shoulder and making them aware of other opportunities for them in the district, and supporting many students or staff then come back, student teach, and are with us long term. So it's a great opportunity for everyone.
I didn't have any other questions. I'm assuming, Superintendent Wimmer, if after this meeting somebody did, they'd be able to.
Absolutely, we could have yep, you can check in if you've got a question around its impact on the district or concern, then we can certainly funnel that through and talk with June about that, as she'll be representing you in January.
Great. June, thank you for agreeing to that assignment. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Any other discussion on this topic? All right, we take no action on it, as was a discussion item. We move then to referendum financing. Superintendent Wimmer.
Great. So if you look at some background for the board on the next steps and kind of financing around the referendum, we need to make some decisions around kind of roles and responsibilities and pieces of that nature. So I'm highlighting two roles for the board, a municipal advisor role as well as the underwriter role. You can see the history of prior referenda and Baird, who's our longstanding financial partner, the different roles that they've made in the past. I've talked with Brian Brewer from Baird. They're interested in pursuing underwriting with the district on that. So they can't be also the municipal advisor. So they're looking at serving in the role as underwriter. So that would leave it up to the board to make a determination regarding a municipal advisor. So generally, there's just a handful of agencies that could do that work. I've seen RFPs put out, requests for proposals around those services, so that we could, as an administrative team, review those and make some further recommendations to the board. So if you're interested in that, I would suggest that path, that we do that. We cultivate to see who may be interested, what that opportunity would look like, what any costs would be for the administration to vet those, and then have those considered by the board. And then Baird has kind of looked at and cast their hat for the underwriting role. They're our long-term financial partner. We would have that recommendation that we then enter into. You negotiate your rates, you look at your terms of service, you start working with them on those pieces. That would line us up for January, selecting those partners, and then looking a little bit ahead where you're really analyzing the different approaches for financial strategy, and then February bringing it forward to the board for some action to finalize that strategy and looking at a spring sale associated with that debt. And again, part of that strategy is it might be pieced into a couple different borrows, given the timeline on the projects. All of that are things that would be discussed and brought to the board with those partners. So the discussion is really around moving forward with Baird as the potential underwriter, and then how you'd like us to move forward on that municipal advisor role.
John?
So I'm hearing Baird for the underwriting position, but has that went out for proposal, or?
You could also do that as a board too, to see
mean-
if there's anyone interested in that role as well.
Isn't that kind of our obligation to make sure we're getting the best rates, just because they're our partner and they work with our school a lot? I understand. I mean, I don't know if they are offering us a substantial discount because of that, and we already give them work, or how does that work?
So you would actually go into negotiations around the rate and what that approach would be. So you still have that. They're not coming in asking for that work with a locked rate right now.
Yeah, but we have
would
nothing to
still do
compare
that.
it to.
Also
you know.
true. That's really something for
And
the
an
board
RFP
to.
costs nothing to us, right?
True.
So,
Yeah, you raise a good point, and something we should definitely consider. I think, the municipal advisor role is also critical in that, because my understanding is they will help us as it relates to evaluating kind of the underwriting deals. It's another layer of protection, but we can certainly talk about the idea of an RFP as well. I have to admit, I've known Baird to be in the space. I'm not sure if there are others, but we could certainly explore.
Anytime that something is passed, trust me, Andy and I are probably inundated with emails from bankers, from services for a lot of different things, and then it would be up to us to vet their capacity, their true, if they're competitive in that market, if they've got the expertise we need. But again, to that point, then we should probably lead with probably some type of municipal advisor that helps vet that as that piece. So then with that and kind of hearing from the board, we can prepare 2 RFPs around those segregated services and then review those internally and bring forward a recommendation to the board.
yeah, I just think it would be, better for the community. I think they would rather see a second proposal for this and just not go with just the people we already have on our books here. So I just think, I don't know. I don't want to give everyone the wrong impression that we're just going with somebody because we're already in contract with them, but.
And I also, to that point, even if you go with that, you still negotiate all those pieces and it still has to come back for the board.
I mean, but even from
Yeah.
the district standpoint, if we have 2 RFPs, they're going to know we want the better rates. So,
Agreed.
they can throw us anything if we didn't have anybody else, so.
Other thoughts? Again, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is there may be some circumstances, other districts, where they wouldn't use a municipal advisor, so it's not legally required, but I do believe that's a really good thing to give us an additional perspective. And also on the underwriter side, it's been a while, but I think the main thing there is the underwriter is compensated by a percentage of the fee. So that's maybe not necessarily the only thing that's negotiated, but that is the primary thing that's really negotiated.
Correct. And there, and again, you're looking at working as a team around long-term strategy, the different phases of borrowing, what's going to be advantageous to the district regarding that debt, all of those pieces. So it's a complex puzzle, but to John's point, it doesn't cost us anything to put that out. It's our administrative time in reviewing those and making a recommendation to the board. We would do that in short order. So I'd probably call the specific agencies that are in that space or have reached out and just alert them and have a truncated timeline on making that available and allowing them to express interest so we can review. And we can certainly bring it forward that way. We meet on January 6th
Okay?
as well as a follow-up. Baird is certainly willing to come in and present at that time. If the board would like to see other presentations too, we could certainly try and coordinate that if we have anyone viable from that recommendation.
Sure.
But I can certainly work with Chris on kind of planning that out, what that review looks like, and then who we bring forward to the board maybe to have conversation with from any team.
Any objections to that approach? All right, not hearing any. Anything else then, Superintendent Wimmer?
No, we have what we need for our direction. We'll move.
Got our marching orders. Excellent, thank you. All right, that concludes our discussion items. We move then to action items, and our first action item is 2025 Summer School Program. And Superintendent Wimmer, I believe you're presenting this as well.
Sure, this is a team approach. Erin Faust isn't with us tonight. She serves as a program administrator and oversees all of our summer school efforts. So in board docs, you have that slide deck for you. In addition to working with Dr. Trueblood on the teaching and learning parts of the program, she works with Tim Harder around the facilities part of it. She works with Andy around the budgeting of it, and Lenny with the staffing of that program. So just a few highlights around the enrollment trends in the program. And then she certainly surveys our staff and our families. So you can see she's got a few program updates for the board's consideration. It's shifting the programs specifically from 9 through 12 to be a Monday through Thursday. Prior, it was a straight Monday through Friday, not really leaving a lot of wiggle room for families. So that's something she heard. So she's recrafted that. So everything is standardized as a Monday through Thursday program, with the exception of virtual, which has opportunities on Fridays, should families so choose it. And then it has the jumpstart days that, again, are during the day or some evening hours. And that's for anyone starting a new school, grade level, that they can participate in those, as well as the band and orchestra camps. So in looking at some of the credit pieces, you can see the virtual program increases from 6 to 8 weeks. They felt like the 6 weeks was a really big time crunch. There's a little bit more flexibility in that virtual program, so that extension into those extra weeks was something that was kind of brought forward in comments from families and students around the workload associated with that. So those are the highlights of the changes. July 4th falls on a Friday, I believe, in this summer, so no accommodation for that. We would again offer for Juneteenth, any family who wishes to observe, to have that day off without any kind of penalty, be an excused absence with an opportunity to make up hours or work in that space. Any questions on that program?
Looks largely consistent with the prior year.
It is.
With a few tweaks.
Yep, just a few tweaks, again, based on feedback and participation, things that might have acted as roadblocks. Our next steps with board action, we'd communicate this on our websites. We'd start enrolling. We'll communicate it on our Wednesday, and then a reminder that any residents, private, parochial, et cetera, homeschool, have opportunities to enroll. So we communicate with those agencies as well, so people can start enrolling. So we'll start that campaign of communication then after board action. So I'd be asking for the board to formally approve the program as presented.
What questions,
Yes.
board members, do we have? All right, hearing none, I would then move to approve. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
said, I
sorry,
have a-
June, I missed that.
I'm sorry, I put my finger up. I
Not
don't
at
have
all.
a question, but I really like not having Fridays during the summer because that, our summers are so short already, and having that Friday, not committed to summer school, but Monday through Thursday sounds like a fantastic compromise.
And it was giving families a little bit more flexibility to get away, take some vacation time where, that Monday through Friday program wasn't really lending itself to long weekends. So again, being really responsive to feedback there.
Great. Thank you, June. Other questions? All right, seeing none, I would move to approve the 2025 summer school program as presented. Is there a second? Thank you, June, for the second. Motion and second to approve the 2025 summer school program as presented. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. We move then to future agenda items, and we will discuss our board meeting calendar. So here are our meetings for January and a bit into February. Regular board meetings will take place here at the Education Service Center, all scheduled at 5:30 p.m. on January 6, 2025, on January 20, 2025, and February 3rd, 2025. I'm going to need to get used to saying 2025. That hasn't quite kind of stuck in my brain yet. So January 6, 20, and February 3, all at 5:30 p.m., all at the Education Service Center for our regular board meetings. And then the Curriculum Committee is scheduled January 14th, 2025, 4:30 p.m. here at the Education Service Center. Those are all the items I have on the board calendar. But again, we encourage the public to check for the official meeting postings in case the time or date or location may have changed. Any questions on the board meeting calendar? How about any items for follow-up and communication? All right, this was a very tight and abbreviated agenda. We appreciate that. Any final questions otherwise? We've reached the end of our planned agenda. So I'd move to adjourn. Is there a second? Let's see. We'll give that one to Dr. Temez. Motion and second to adjourn. Any final discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We stand adjourned. Have a safe and happy holiday season upcoming, and we will, I believe, see you in 2025. Have a good evening.